Hello again. This morning I'm going to talk about the joy of aging. And it's probably a good idea that I get to do this by video because I know there's some of you that are going to give me a really hard time. You're going to say, okay, 48 years old, what's this guy going to talk about? Can he really relate with those of us who are 78 years old or 80 years old? And so the fact that I get to do it this way and not be there with you personally, which is really where I'd rather be, I don't have to listen to some of you guys giving me a hard time, and I know who you are. I can still see you out there. I was with a buddy just about a month ago, and he said, Tom, growing older is not for wimps. Tough business. And I believe that. But I don't think you have to be the age of your peers to necessarily know what they're going through. And I'll give you an example. I am a grandfather now. That warrants something. Last month we had our first grandchild, so pretty soon I'll hear the words grandpa quite a bit, and that tends to create an image in your mind of somebody who's older. And I also have 4 children. I have a 25-year-old daughter that teaches at Owensboro Catholic High School. I have a 21-year-old that lives in Lexington. I have a 17-year-old who's still a junior in high school, and that puts a few gray hairs on your head. And I still have a 12-year-old. And, to my 12-year-old, I'm a dinosaur. So age is kind of relevant. I'm in the middle somewhere, but I still have some strong feelings about the aging culture and about the ability that we have to celebrate this aging culture. And again, if you've been to Senior Day in the past, you know it's a place that I like to talk about, and it's based on some work by a gerontologist from Louisville who will be here in the fall talking to you directly. But she's the one that really got me involved in just some of the study and the spirituality of growing older. And I just want to hit about 5 points here, some observations and time together there in the end. And maybe there will be some things in there that help cope with some of the aging process. Okay, the first thing is we add a spiritual dimension to everything that we do here at St. Mary's. It's mind, it's body, but it's spirit. That we believe in our vocations here that God's given us gifts. And with those gifts and abilities, we try to maximize our potential to heal other people. That's the mission of St. Mary's. So there's a faith behind it. We know there's a creator and there's a God. So if there's a God and a creator, there's got to be a plan. So if you look today statistically at our culture, and if you look statistically at our society, it's growing older. And the numbers are significant. The number of 100-year-olds, the people living to age 75, the chances of them getting to age 90, we're all going to last a lot longer than the generations before us, for the most part, statistically speaking. So the first question that tends to beg is, why? What could be part of God's plan? What's changing, in fact, in God's plan, that we have this entire aging culture? Because I don't believe it happens by chance. Certainly we're growing more intelligent, medicines are more sophisticated, equipment's more sophisticated, our diets are better, maybe, supposed to be, could be. We know more about the human body, so certainly there's an intelligence factor there, but still, if that's part of a design, why would God want a population growing as significantly older as it is? So I think there's a point to reflect and say, what does it mean? What could that plan be? Because I think in our culture, in our society, as we age, think about where we tend to put people who are aging. And I use the word retirement lightly. I've got a friend there today that tells me, when I look at his schedule, it's packed more than mine is. He's been retired for about 7 years, and instead his schedule's never been so full of doing things. But retirement, conceptually, we tend to think we're gearing down, don't we? That you get to age 55, and then age 60, and maybe about age 65, we're going to retire. What does that mean? Well, it means we're going to stop doing what we're doing to earn an income. So you really think that God's creating this huge aging process and this aging population to gear down. We believe that there's a purpose in that that there's an action, there's a plan that will evolve from that. So we kind of almost have to break a little bit from, depart from thinking that at age 65 we're gearing down to do what, nothing or fish or hunt or whatever. So what Dr. Jane Thiebaud does, who's the gerontologist that I refer to, she talks about making every period in your life meaningful, powerful. It doesn't mean at age 65 that you're just going to get busier differently, but it does mean that we're not ever really gearing down. We're just gearing up to do things differently. Maybe not take on the tasks of a daily job, but we're still taking on the tasks of a daily life. And we're still living the same amount of hours every day. And what we do in those hours are powerful and they are significant. And they have the potential to have tremendous impact on society and on culture. And it's every individual understanding that they have a very powerful role. That could be 12, that could be 16, that could be 24, that could be 94, 100. That it's understanding that life gives us the opportunity to be powerful. And it's knowing that if we're alive and we're drawing that breath, we're breathing, then there's power there that exists. And I even liked a point that I heard once, sometimes letting people take care of you, that's a powerful act. It's not something I'm comfortable with right now. I may never go comfortable of thinking that somebody's going to have to take care of me. But if they do, then, maybe that gives somebody else an opportunity to live out their vocation, to live out what God's called them to do in life. So every act of breath can have a powerful impact on another individual. So first, it's kind of breaking out of that thought process. We're growing older as a society because there's a grander design, there's a grand plan. What is my role in that plan? So there's some thought there. Next is the question, well, what am I supposed to do? And again, there's a great struggle sometimes in our culture to find balance for our lives. When people sometimes talk about using their time or their talents or their money or trying to figure out what they're supposed to do, there's a difference between just being busy for busy's sake and then, charting kind of our days, charting our plans, charting our time. For instance, perhaps it was a good thing God wants your day to be filled with a partner, the gift of another individual or family. Maybe it's friendships. Maybe it's some recreation as well. But how much time do we spend really thinking about the time in our day and what makes it important? I love to play golf. When I get that opportunity, that's a blessing. That is an important time in my life. It is an important way for me to recreate and to get with friendships and to get exercise. But what if that's all that I did? What if I did that at the point it detracted from my family or my work or other activities? And so even in older years, we've got to look at our lives and say, what are those routines that are healthy, that make me a better person? And what are those routines or those attitudes and thoughts that need to be balanced a little bit? I used to work a lot with high school kids. And it's interesting to me that when you talk to a high school kid, he's always telling you what he's going to be. It's almost like there's something out there down the road that will fulfill my life, a routine or a purpose or a vocation. And when I talk with the aging, people who are retired, a lot of times it very quickly gets to the conversation what I was, back when I was important or productive. And there's a little revelation in that we diminish what we are right now. So I guess I would just emphasize that what you're doing right now here in this body, in this place, is very important. This, sharing with each other, breaking some bread here in a little bit, telling some stories, hearing some stories, laughing, enjoying our company. That's powerful too. That's very important too, and that we need to dwell more on those things that make us powerful today, those choices that we get to make about our lives. If if nothing else, those choices we get to make about our attitudes and our ability to accept the life that's entrusted to our care.